Everyone, and truly appreciate all of you taking the time out to have this conversation, which we call the Talent Tonic. And interestingly, this is a forum that we kept in mind for talent development and talent acquisition professionals. Because I've been in the industry for 30 years and I've seen most of the conversations are either on hiring or they are on HR related topics, and the learning folks go and have a lot of fun outside having multiple sessions. I thought it's very important to actually hear the perspective of talent acquisition professionals, because I think some of the most valuable work is done by TA folks in an organization, because companies are built by talent acquisition professionals. So I think this is one of our first series on the Talent Tonic front. So really delighted to actually have all of you join. We had a few last minute dropouts, four of them actually in the last 2 hours for multiple reasons. But the advantage with a small group is that we have more airtime uh, to share our views and hear others' views. So welcome once again. What we'll do is that we have I follow a strict protocol. I start on time. I endeavor to end on time, and we've been successful so far in almost every event that we've done. So we will end sharp at 7:30. That's our end time, and we will not go beyond, because I respect the fact that you may have other commitments to honor after that, so that we stick to that. And so my request would be is that whenever we share our viewpoints, if we could keep it brief within, say, 60 seconds to say 3 minutes at the max, it gives opportunities for others to also share their views and respond. So it becomes more participative. Yeah. So as we get started, and before I introduce the topic, we'll go through a quick round of introduction. Only three things in the introduction. What's your name, which is obviously visible. Well, it'll be nice to hear from you. Second, what's your role and which organization do you work for? And the third is which location you've dialed in from. These are the only three things. And after all of you have completed, I'll go last, so that then I'll get the conversation moving. Is that okay?
Sure.
Yeah. So we'll start with Narayan. So you want to start with your introduction, sir?
Sure, absolutely. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My full name is Narayanan Ramachandran. I'm actually based in Chennai. Currently, I work with a company called Altimetrik, which is a US-based digital transformation services organization. I lead talent acquisition or talent supply chain, both internal and external fulfillment for the organization for India.
Great. Thanks, Narayan. Well, lovely to have you on this conversation.
Thank you.
Rohit?
Yeah, thanks for having me here. My name is Rohit Vatsyayan. I'm operating out of Bangalore right now. I'm currently part of Swift Labs, which is operating in stealth mode. We will be out in a couple of weeks or so.
Great. Stealth mode. I like the term. Yeah. Yeah. Amit?
Hi, hello everyone. I'm Amit Patel from Bacancy. I'm basically based in Ahmedabad and I'm working as an HRBP.
Great. Thanks, Amit. Vijayshree?
Okay, so I'm a diversity and inclusion candidate. I would start with that. So let's start between six men. But then happily, yes, I'm Dr. Vijayshree. I come with an experience of around 16 years. ITS organizations, VFX, FinServ. Currently, I am heading the talent acquisition division for Company 3, which happens to work in the post-production phase of VFX. So that's about me.
Thanks, Dr. Vijayshree. Thank you. Prithveesh?
Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Prithveesh Muralidhar. Based out of Bangalore, I represent a company called Biocon Biologics, Indian pharma organization that's gone global now. I play a dual role. My large part of the role is in talent acquisition. I lead external and internal talent acquisition globally. And apart from that, the kind of phase that we are in within the company, I'm keenly contributing towards the digital transformation office that's cutting across HR and IT. And I'm based in
Thanks,
Bangalore.
Prithveesh.
Yeah.
Based in Bangalore. Yes. Thank you. Abhay?
Uh, Good evening, all of you. My name is Abhay Mane, and I am based from Pune. Presently, I am logged in from Mumbai. I represent Government of India, specifically the Indian Army, and I'm Director Talent Development for Government Center of Excellence, which is in Pune, which is called the College of Military Engineering. And thank you so much.
Thanks, Abhay. So, Dr. Vijayshree, this is diversity for us if you actually look at Abhay in the group, not necessarily on gender, but on so many other things, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, great. My name is Anand Bhaskar. I'm the CEO of Planet Ganges Consulting, PGC as we call it, and I'm based out of Bangalore, and I'm logged in out of Bangalore too. Yeah. So once again, all of you, welcome so much. Welcome to this particular event. And the topic is very interesting because this is something which is a contemporary topic, and there's a lot of conversations around this. And there's so much speak about artificial intelligence that sometimes we are also confused whether it's how much of it is reality and how much of it is hype, right? And there have been so many other themes that have gone across over the last 4 or 5 years that now it seems like this is the theme for the year right now. But I think the topic that I want to present before all of you is we're not here to talk about AI in particular, but we're talking about what's the market landscape for skills in AI. Because when we are saying AI is out there, AI is disrupting, blah blah blah, there's so much conversation happening around AI. Are there actually AI related skills out there in the market? Number one, and number two, leadership actually drives the mindset and the direction in most of the organizations. So how much does the leadership understand AI themselves at at a cerebral level? And number two, how much do they understand what AI can do in their organizations and how it can redefine their strategy and direction? So when we are actually out there in the market looking for AI talent and we are hiring at leadership levels, you know what is available out there and are we able to actually achieve that? So 2 years back, I know people are involved with, okay, give me a CTO who can do blah blah blah, and give me a CDO who understands data because data is the new oil. All these conversations have actually suddenly been sent into the graveyard mode, and today the conversation is all about AI and what the power of AI could be. So what is your view from where you're sitting and the work that you're doing? You know, is A, the question on understanding of the leadership on AI in particular, and two, what's the skills out there in the market, and what's the journey that you may be experiencing? These are the two questions that I'll start with. And anyone can answer. You can raise a hand. If you actually raise your hand on the click up there, it sequences the numbers automatically, and we can actually see who is next. So Amit, yes, you want to get started?
Yes, sir. So AI is definitely the game changer, but not right now. What I have seen in today's implementations, what AI, everyone, this buzzing word, but are we really capable enough to engage AI in our day-to-day life? We are not. Why? Because pre-COVID, we were talking about data, digitalizations, everything. But COVID actually taught us how digitalization is really helpful and how data is powerful. Because of COVID, generative AI worked very well and they engage the data very well. So data is the key for generative AI. Without data, artificial intelligence will not work at all. And same way, I believe in AI of human, which is actual intelligence. That's what the AI, because AI developed by the actual intelligence itself. So if we're talking about the what, how could we emphasize by leadership? So if I talk about my company, my CEO Chandresh Patel, who was emphasizing on AI very well that we should adopt the earliest technology. We should adopt in that way that everyone get the benefited. It is not about to because of market is adopting, but how we can solve the real problem into the world. So AI we adopted in that way that we started a AIML team and then we launched the product which help us the day-to-day life problem. AI will not change entire world, but it will help to reduce the manual work. Because when you are talking about AI has a lot of different model, large language modeling, because this is totally depending upon the someone else modeling. Nobody has developed till that foolproof product in that way. that AI will sort everything by that way. This is just an, just initiations, I would say, which will help us to understand like how AI will help us in day-to-day life in leaders. Leaders has to just keep faith into the human itself, because we all are human and we are connected through the emotions. AI will not understand the emotions. AI will give the command, but as a human, we have to understand the emotions as well. So we have to emotionally, because leadership involves with the real human, where actual intelligence work. So we have to treat our employee that way, that leadership will adopt that AI, not in fear, but in terms of their future development. Along with that, they can also empower that how AI will help them to get their work within this small period of time. If they are doing work, let's say it will take 8 hours, it will reduce by 2 hours, 3 hours, and then how it is helping us to resolve that problem. Same way, because of data modelization and data digitalization, this is really helping us to gathering the data in one platform. The way Google search engine was working, the same Chat GPT and many more tables. If you're inserting into the any AI tools, they are providing the data. This is nothing. This is synchronizing the one entire work into this small friction of work. That's how AI will work. So AI is right now a buzzword, but definitely it will change time of period. It is not mature yet. Now everyone is collecting the data. They are changing their model style. They're utilizing different methodology, algorithms, and all. So it will take time. And if I talk about the talent, right now there are a lot of scarcity into the market, that AI/ML talent is not readily available, because that's require a lot of research. Because AI/ML, that's not easy to understand, but that's require lots of research, and research requires a lot of time. So we need to give some time to mature this model. So that's what I would like to put across my point of view in this.
Great, thanks, Amit. So what I heard you say is essentially that AI is out there to reduce manual work. There's also it's in a nascent stage. Actual intelligence will still supersede artificial intelligence, right? Is what you're saying. And added to that, you're saying that it will take time to mature. This whole journey is going to take some time to mature. So great. Let's hear from Dr. Vijayshree. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Anand. And it was really great to hear Amit, because I resonate a lot of feelings what Amit is coming from. But it's basically a fear of unknown. If you put it that way, is that a lot of people are fearful. So we've seen the industrial revolution. We've seen the computers coming in. At that point of time, we had a similar kind of a feeling that computers are going to replace the complete human asset kind of a thing with the organizations. But slowly and gradually, we adapted to the change, the technology which came in. In fact, we improvised on the technology, and then the knowledge share kind of a thing which happened with amongst the people, and the enhancement gradually which happened is what we all have witnessed. And we are the privileged ones who have witnessed manual working, then computerized, then internet. As in, I can remember my days when we had a heavy Nokia mobile kind of a thing. A lot of people give this example, but then today the mobiles have become a little lighter, but communication has become difficult. So I put it that way, is that everything, what we use technology has to be wisely done, and that wiseness no AI can bring in, because obviously everything has its boon and its bane. So we as the HR leaders, we have to make sure, see, because I personally think that business leaders are always in that rat race wherein they just want to adapt new things. But then the repercussions is something what we need to study, because we are actually dealing with the human, asset which grows with time. That's the only asset which grows with time. Rest of the assets are depreciating. That is what I strongly believe. And I say it is not a jargon, but then around the years I've seen this. Now, aligning to my industry currently, so we are moreover hiring in VFX. It's a skill factor. It is not the skill factor what we hire, it is the will factor what we hire. We hire personalities, and they can be taught, they can be enhanced. We can put in knowledge to them, we can train them, and that's how we'll improvise the complete personality. But with AI, there will be a lot of investment which will be coming into, and it is a shift and drift. that one technology has been launched today. Tomorrow there will be different technology. Day after there will be different, and it will be wiped off very soon. But at the same point of time, if we are making our people capable enough to adapt these technologies, I think that is something what we have to be open for. And that fear of unknown from the market will go, and gradually, this complete hype of what AI is going through is something what will come down. Currently, people just are fearful. What is this? What is it coming? Is it, a ghost, or is it a blessing in disguise? Or what is it? So I think that is more what people are thinking over it. Once we give it, I think it is as going to be as good as the adaptability what we have to 5G. From 4G to 5G, we don't feel anything. Arey haan, theek hai, there is a feature which has been added. From one version to another, if we are going, okay, I am used to this. Similarly, from computers and technology, we are just having a phase of technology which is changing. I think we have to open for accepting it. That's the only thing what I put it. The last thing what I would like to put up is regarding the industry alignment. So currently, it's a very sorry state of our industry, which is VFX, because of this AI, a lot of writers' job are being taken care. So I would take the leverage of explaining this industry because not many people are knowing. So we are into Hollywood film production. So that is post production phase what we are doing. All of you will be surprised that movies like Ghost Rider, Resident Evil series, Harry Potter's, we are very fascinated by the kind of visual effects they have. And they say, कि like, अरे boss, ये India में नहीं होता. But let me tell you, studios and organizations like ours, they are doing a fabulous job. Our people are the ones who are doing all these jobs, and therefore, it is directly impacting us. So the writer strike in Hollywood is impacting India in terms of jobs. So last 6 years, 6 months in 1 years have been really bad because there are no Hollywood movies which have been produced, and because of which lot of studios in India have gone for shutdown. And I'm happily saying that there are no layoffs in my organization as for this point of time. But then yes, improvisation is going to take a little time as far as the stability with AI is concerned. So adaptability is what I would put like. Thank you. I think that is it from
Oh,
my
got it.
side.
Thanks. No, this is very helpful. I think what I heard you say is, the repercussions are going to be there, and change management and adaptability becomes very important, is what I heard you say. And
Absolutely.
as you're looking at talent, you're looking at more at talent from a will factor or will perspective, which is, I would use the word learnability, means people who are willing to learn, who are trainable. Though that's the kind of talent you are kind of looking at, and you're bringing them in.
Yeah.
And in your industry, the impact is significant. I think Bahubali was one Indian movie I could think of when you were talking about VFX.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I deliberately would not name that because then we would start with all conversation. So, with due respect, it is an exaggeration of VFX, is what I would like to put on.
maybe. Yeah, that's cool. But I mean, that's understood. The
Yeah.
point is well taken.
Yeah.
Having said that, now as we go to Rohit, who's going to share his perspective next, is see one of the things which is playing on, which has been going around in the articles and news around on AI, is that AI is not going to grow the way ML has grown, the way data and analytics grew. It's not going to grow that way. It's going to grow exponentially. And the word exponentially was used from the context of saying that today, if it is one, one has become, say, two, two has become 10, 10 has become 100, 100 will become 10,000. That's the pace at which the growth will happen when it comes to AI. So, the disruption that we have seen so far, again, I'm just going by the news that is out there. The disruption that we are seeing thus far in technology, this is going to be different from what we have experienced so far. So it's not a 1G to 2G to 5G, as Dr. Vijayshree mentioned, is what the media is saying. It's going to be from 5G to straight 15G or 20G, and people are going to feel really made, have feel really surprised by what is happening. So I'm just challenging the whole notion of, what based on what is out there. So we'll love to hear from Rohit in terms of what is his perspective. Over to you, Rohit.
Thanks, Anand. I will give you a very different perspective here. I think I will give you an engineer's perspective. Um, so AI is nothing but a new buzzword for unsupervised machine learning. So whenever we talk about machine learning as a whole, from last 15 to 20 years, we were using deep learning, machine learning, which were more supervised in nature. Now with generative AI coming into picture from last, I would say 12 months or so, we have seen a lot of buzz around non-supervised machine learning systems, and AI does that. Now, how do I see it adapting, or how do first I will cover the how do I see talent here? There is already talent available. It just like LLM have picked up in last 6 months. LLM is a new technique. It's a new conversational uh, model. So talent is already there. What we look at talent, or what we will look at talent in next 1 year, because we will be extensively hiring in machine learning, is how they have evolved with time. Like if I'm looking at like a head of machine learning or a director of machine learning, what I will look at, did they adapt different phases of machine learning systems? And believe it or not, I don't know if I'm accurate or not, but machine learning have existed since 1960s or so. So it's an old technique, but with abundance of data, abundance of technology and computing power, it's just picking up very quickly. We have data centers, cloud technologies, which help us compute. So computing is the keyword here. The more you compute, the more intelligence machines can get, and the more computation power
Anand, I'm not.
you will get. I'm sorry. Okay, I think Vijayshree got stuck. Or am I audible properly?
Yes, you are audible, I think. Please
Awesome.
continue.
So yeah, so that's my view. From a talent acquisition point of view, I think what we look at is someone who have evolved over the course of time, um, who have picked up new technologies, and then evolve, and then who can pick up new frameworks or build new frameworks. Now it's time for building custom frameworks to solve for specific use cases. And I speak for fintech here because I've been fintech all my life. So that's how I see it. Uh, in addition to that, obviously, it will help us automate a lot of mundane tasks. It will release cognitive overload from people, and it will help us do context switching really, really fast. So that's how I look at it.
Oh, great. Thanks, Rohit. I think good on the ground perspective based on the work that you guys are doing. I like the word non-supervised ML, or machine learning, which is a very interesting term, right? And also, it's a fact that what you're saying is the computing power of AI is phenomenal. I think that's where the edge that AI is getting. Uh, I only wonder if we could put our money into Zerodha, and Zerodha would automatically mint money for us by investing in the right stocks. And if AI could do that tomorrow, based on your preferences.
How how do we know that they are not doing it in backend?
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know. Yeah, good point. Yeah, great. So, Prithvish, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, I think I appreciate all the views that speakers before me have shared. I think from my point of view, alluding to some of the initial points that you made, Anand, especially on looking at leadership in AI and some of these skills that we look at from a recruiting perspective or from a staffing perspective, right? So essentially, three levers that are really driving when we look at leadership. One is appreciation towards technology and the vision to take it to the next level when it comes to business models, right? A lot of AI today is looked at from an experience layer standpoint, or from a standpoint of making operational aspects of it easier in that view. But I think the real game is about how do you look at it from a leadership standpoint on taking your business model to the next level. I think that's where AI will really make a big impact. And we've already seen some use cases around it, and that time is not too far where you will actually see companies showing productivity and eventually EBITDA margins in a much better way using AI technology. That's one. Second is from a skills perspective, transformation is another big area where we look at when we bring leaders in. While of course somebody has to understand AI frameworks, etc. But at leadership levels, when you bring in at CXO levels, you really look at the transformative power that the person brings with. Right. So he or she may not have done a lot of AI, but the ability to look at the AI function within an IT org or a strategy org is something that is very critical. Third is the whole strategy around it, right? As in today, AI can be looked at as a short-term measure. It can have a 3 to 5 year long measure, but also if you're at a startup phase or even at a phase wherein you've acquired companies, or even if you're at a very matured stage like your Accenture and TCS of the world, AI can impact in a very big way in terms of strategy. So I think as long as you are getting your, I call it as the brilliant basics, you get that right in terms of strategy. It might be AI today, it might be something else tomorrow, right? Your fundamentals should not go away, is my view. And I think some of the leaders that I have worked with in the past and some of the leaders I'm working currently today in the tech space or in the AI space are really demonstrating that. And some of the leaders that you see out in social media or otherwise, the reason why they're all really powerful, creating value, showing success in the AI space is because they bring the transformative power, they bring the strategy power and the brilliant basics into it. So that's my view on this.
Oh, great. Thanks, Prithveesh. Very interesting points. I think what I heard you say is appreciation toward technology uh, in order to take the business to the next level. And also the CXO is able to think transformation while they're looking at these technologies. I think it just got me thinking about one mandate that we were doing for the CDO for Adani Airports. And interestingly, when this candidate who came in, he was trying to visualize the whole schema for the airport, which wherein the experience will be entirely digital and data driven, right? The promoter himself, or rather, was intimidated by the visualization impact of this candidate. And I was actually amused because I was sitting through the meeting and I was looking at saying, okay, this is probably the candidate they want because the vision of the promoter was that. But when he actually saw the candidate, um with all due respect, I can say that one buckled down, you know, and said, okay, I don't think I'm ready for all this. And then I would not say an ordinary person was hired, but not so extraordinary person wasn't hired. So just maybe a slightly better person was hired. So I think one is ability to translate in one's own head, uh, the transformation impact that technology can have. Whether it's AI, could be one piece of it. The second is the ability to stomach the whole implementation on the ground, because it would take that much of change management that some of you have already alluded to. It's something to think about. Yeah. So with that, we'll move to Abhay and hear what's happening on in national defense.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. First of all, it was great listening to all the speakers and there. So I will take this question from the talent supply point of view with respect to my organization context of the Indian Armed Forces. So be it the government, the corporate or the government, no organization I think today is can shy away from AI. That's not an option. So unfortunately for us, we do not have a buy option for the talent purpose. So the only thing we might have in short consultancies coming from the experts of AI, but we cannot buy talent as other organizations have the options. So I will tackle this question at 2 points. One is at the organizational level and one is at individual level. So last year we have a AI roadmap for the our organization, which is put in place, which targets the units, the center of excellence or the training centers in general, and how we are going to move ahead. However, at the individual point, since I have been a part of Center of Excellence, we have started basic AI skilling of the officers so that as they move up, and since they are from the millennials, they have the mindset for technology, and so we have started their skilling Also, if there is a AI process or a technology if we are using, so for that particular teams, we might go for specific skilling. So this is how we are tackling the talent part. And as Vijayshree said, that I agree with her that the human resource is the only organic part of the organization. And business will change, technology will change, but the HR part will, and they are the most loyal. Technology can be loyal to you. So what I feel as leaders, we need to empower them and firstly bring everybody on board. We cannot have haves and have nots, that some people are knowing AI and others are just following. So as much as people we bring on board and empower them by skilling at all levels, whatever required from induction level, or maybe somebody who's senior but then he is undergoing a project which needs AI, then for a short term skilling is needed. So he doesn't have to go to that basics, but only for that project a particular skill can be learned, and then we move on. And it's a long process, and everybody needs to have some patience and go ahead. So that's what is from me. Thank you so much.
Lovely. I think that's an interesting perspective. I actually wonder. It seems like an unfair battle because you obviously don't have the financial flexibility that many people in the private sector may have in order to get the kind of talent you may want. But also it presents you with an interesting opportunity to skill people internally, as you've called out. So before we go to Narayan, there's one aspect I want to bring in, which Vijayshree did touch about, which is about learnability or willingness to learn and trainable people. So in the kind of disruption we are having, and we are bringing in talent, how do we actually assess for, how do we know that this person we are bringing in actually has a learnability quotient higher than others, right? I'm just playing that out and just as a question, could be rhetorical. So Narayan, I don't want to put you on the spot, but just a thought, right? As
No,
you,
absolutely. Absolutely. So again, just taking a step back, Anand and everybody, right? The When you said, Anand, the myth and the hype around AI, my perspective is there is a myth and hype around AI because everybody looks at AI being a silver bullet to their problems. It's never that way. That's the fundamental mistake people make. If you start looking AI to be your silver bullet to all your problems, then you and the solution is setting up for failure, right? AI, artificial intelligence, is to enable humans do their jobs better, right? Decision is with a human, end of the day. Artificial intelligence is not going to come and take your decisions, right? It's going to enable you to do your job better. I'll give you a simple use case that I'm doing in my organization right now, which is already live. We've stopped writing job descriptions. In talent acquisition, the most important thing is to be able to get a right job description for a role, for any role, be it a software engineer, be it a financial analyst, be it a, no, in fact, a head of engineering that you're looking to hire, whatever it is, right? Job description is very important. Now, sitting and writing a job description, when you ask a human being to write it, there is a lot of their perspective of the role coming in the JD, which all the human experts will call as bias. AI is coming here to solve that problem of bias. It will give you, there are, to what Rohit was saying, right? There are tested career paths. There are tested career paths, meaning there are various organizations, Mercer, Hewitts of the world, having so many roles to get. You combine all of these definitions of a role into one, that is very simply called large language model, because you're combining all of data into a model. You deploy ChatGPT on top of it, you given a keyword, it's able to combine all of this and give you a JD. Now that is free of bias. It frees human beings time to be able to sit and write that JD. It ensures accuracy of that JD to that role, right? And it speeds up. It can do this much faster than anybody else, right? There is no time given to it. You can do much faster than anybody else. Now what happens is, when I have a role right now, this is my use case in my organization. When I have a role open, when a hiring manager wants to hire somebody else, he has to click a few buttons. What role, what level, what is my career path, and what is a job film architecture. The generative AI behind it is able to generate a full job description for the role. All the hiring managers read it once and say, yes, I'm okay with it. As compared to, so my entire position creation, which was happening days, happen now in seconds and minutes. That's the productivity angle that you're bringing in. So we're saving managers time to look in. So the way you deploy AI is how it's going to help you. Again, just to repeat, right? If you're looking at AI coming in and solving a problem, being the silver bullet, no. But if you look at it, the second way we're deploying AI, we have already deployed AI in my company, is engagement, right? It is very difficult for an organization which is diverse and spread across so many locations, right? For HRBPs, I think somebody was an HRBP in this, right? HRBPs to be able to go and connect with people, right? Amit is an HRBP, sorry. So go and connect with people. So But we need to be able to connect with people, right? We need to understand, especially new joiners, on their first 30th day, on their 60th day, on the 90th day, at the end of 6 months, at the end of 1 year, we'd be able to connect with people and get things done, right? For the HRBPs to have meaningful conversations, you need information. Otherwise, they go into the call first 15, 20 minutes trying to even figure out what this person has been doing, what they've been doing, what they've been undergoing, and all that stuff. I have generative AI deployed in my organization automatically on everybody's, on a new joiner's first day, at the end of first day of joining, 30th day, 60th day, 90th day. It's an automated chat. It's a generative chat where they can just chat with the system and they're free to chat. No human being again involved. So they are chatting freely because there is the person who new joiner who's come in is not worried about what the other person will think because he knows very well that he's chatting with the bot and he talks freely. The AI model, the second AI model on top of that is able to learn what the responses have been coming from the employee and flags up with their business partner saying, hey, there seems to be a point of concern because some choice of his words is not in the right tone. AI helps you in that. So what happens is, let's say when Amit is having the conversation, he knows that this employee seems to have some challenges because of choice of his word or his responsiveness to a particular question is bad. So he's able to have meaningful conversations, which enables us to retain our employees much better than somebody is going. Otherwise, when will I know? When the person resigns in the company. So you look at AI getting deployed, and these are use cases to what Prithveesh was saying, right? These are use cases in HR. Now we are a digital transformation company. We have deployed AI solutions. Again, Prithveesh is from Biocon, right? We work with a large pharma's client for want of confidentiality and all that stuff, right? Drug discovery is a big problem in the pharma clients for them to be able to find out which drug will solve what ailment. Drug discovery is anywhere between a 2 to 3 year process. We have deployed a solution where the drug discovery is coming from 2 years to 3 days, from thousands of chemicals to a short 100 where you can go directly into clinical trials. So going what Prithveesh was saying, right? That is where you are able to really contribute to the company's earnings. They're able to get to market. Another AI solution we deployed for another client, pharma client, is supply chain. So a lot of these drugs have lifetime. From the time they are manufactured to the time they're administered, it's 48 hours. But it's manufactured in one part of the globe, needs to be administered in another part of the globe. What is the best supply chain solution that you can ensure that the drug reaches the person required in the next 48 hours? AI will tell you that. So there are custom solutions that you'll have to look at for your problems. If you start looking at it as like I said, a silver bullet, a big bullet, it won't solve you. The perspective that you bring in to be able to see where you can solve helps you really across to be able to, like what you're saying, right? Move your margins, move your earnings across profitability, free up your people's time. End of the day, what I look for is I'm able to free up human beings' time from doing mundane, repetitive tasks. All that can be taken care of. Give intelligence to the humans so that the humans can do the real human work. That's where we deploy AI. Right? And just to answer the question, from a talent perspective, it's not easy. The talent is quite difficult to find. So like what Vijayshree was saying, in her industry, they look for skills. In everywhere, we look for skills, right? And we look for only people who have shown the ability to learn, right? How have they learned? How have they traversed in life through multiple difficult situations that they encountered for the first time? How do they go through that? At office, at life, wherever it is. That gives you the learnability. And if they show that, and if they show maturity on top of it, that they handle pressure well, then that's the person that you want to bet on. Everything else can be taught.
Oh, that's a great point, Narayan. I think multiple good points, and also sets a tone for the next line of conversation. But before we go there, I'd like to hear, I think Abhay raised his hand. So curious to hear what Abhay has to say.
Yeah, see, the question was from the learnability point of view, and being a hardcore talent development professional, I couldn't stop raising my hand. However, Narayanan has answered it. What I feel that from the learnability point of view, the question which you asked is, I personally feel that how you do everything is you do anything. Okay, is what Narayan just said. Has that person actually deployed anything? What was his learning curve earlier? What skills has he shown, or how has he learned new things? So that is far more important to understand. And if he has done that, because AI is a skill which needs a lot of creativity, and if he has been involved in any of the projects which he has demonstrated those abilities to deploy something new, go aside from the crowd and do something, then I think that will be a person which I would put, if I was the talent acquisition manager, I would put my bet on. Thank you so much. And thanks, Narayanan, for the wonderful examples you had shown. It's like amazing. In pharma industry, 2 years to 3 days is like unheard of.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think no, it is interesting. I think I'll just use this as a segue to the next part that I wanted to ask you questions on. Is see, we are talking about learnability, we're talking about skills, we're talking about adaptability, we're talking about lots of these things which are very important, right? Now, when we're looking down, we're looking at the millennials and the Gen Zs who are in the market, which is the majority of the workforce. But when we just flip the whole thing and look at some of the people like ourselves, we are already 30 years or 20 years or 15 years in the industry. Lots of us who have actually been there and done and worked in a particular way, right? From your experience and your looking at people around us, what's your perspective of how quickly are leaders adapting to this changing landscape? You know, uh, do they think it's a fad and it's going to pass away in 2 years, or they say, okay, something came earlier, now this has also come, this will also pass, something else will come tomorrow, so why take the pressure, let's wait for the final one, whatever comes finally we'll learn. Or how are leaders responding to this, how are leaders bracing up to dealing with these challenges? And I'm coming from a different perspective. In my experience, from where I work in consulting and in executive search, we see a lot of people 40 plus or 40 to 45 who have kind of quitting jobs or don't get jobs. They have kind of hit senior positions. They become CEOs or business heads of various verticals or CTOs in smaller companies, mid-sized companies. They max out. I mean, I don't want to use it in a negative way, but they kind of max out. Their current companies don't think they are good enough for the next role or the bigger roles, and they don't find any suitable roles based on their previous profiles. So there are lots of young retirees, if I may use that as a phrase, or people, reinventing themselves into consultants at the age of 40, 45, and much earlier than their prime. Is there a connection between learnability, adaptability, acquiring new skills, and being relevant to the current and the future context for leadership talent? Is there something out there that is happening that we have to explore? That's the question. Yeah, we'll go to Vijayshree, who has raised her hand first on on this.
Okay, so I'm sorry, but then Anand, it was previously when Narayanan was speaking, so I heard you. But then, if you allow me, I would just like to go a little back. And I think while all of us are talking about digital transformation, AI, machine learning, so-called unsupervised, the buzzwords being used over here, we are missing one thread. So I'm purely talking from an Indian context point of view, wherein we are evolving as leaders, we are evolving into the technology and all that. But then the basic thing what we are missing is that our people, and with due respect to everything, our people are used to monitoring, as in the basic. If you talk about, if there is no cop on this on the signal, we are ought to jump. And I'm in Pune, please. So no offense to anybody. So if there is no cop, we tend to jump the red signal and all that, and a lot of such tasks, if you may talk we talk about. So if we go unsupervised, so again, I'm taking a very relevant example of a talent acquisition. This is an induction going on for an person, and imagine an AI is speaking about how the company policies are and all that and all that, and you have a chat box wherein you can type in your question and go ahead. But then that is not where the people connect. They don't understand the so-called emotion question of the entire organization. So I am very for with all the pointers and all the speakers who are speaking about the lesser time frame being taken, mundane jobs being taken care by AI. But at the same point of time, if you are talking about retention, so imagine a person speaking to you when you are getting retained and an AI speaking to you. So I have worked with WNS, wherein we have Amber. So if I put my resignation, I get a form to be filled in as to why I want to resign. And just imagine a person talking to you. So the impact is different. Though we want an adaptability, but just talking the basic, maybe it may sound a little naive, a little nascent, but then that emotional question point is really going to play a very vital role while we are adapting this technology, while we are going for an AI, all on with mundane jobs, routine work, fast pace, everything said and done, agreed upon. Imagine I'm just taking a scenario from Abhay's this thing that he's trying to train a robot is trying to train strictly to the people. So would they listen to that person? No, there is a major who's standing in front and he wants to. They have to train the people. AI cannot do that. A robot will not do justice with that kind of a strict training because it is physically abusing. I'm sorry for the word, but then that's what we think as common man. So I think that's my completely different perspective to this entire AI thing. As in, that's it from my side.
Fair enough. Absolutely. I think the jury is out that AI is not going to replace human. One thing is very clear. Okay. And we are going to look to AI to make our work easier, to make our work processes more efficient, and get better business results for our companies and businesses. So it was interesting. There was a quote which went down saying AI is not going to take jobs. AI is only going to give jobs to those who have AI skills. That's all is going to happen. So if you have, you have skills, then you're going to get employed for sure.
Yeah, even
Right.
HRs are fearful. As in, frankly speaking, half of the HR fraternity is fearful that we are going to lose our jobs because of AI, and everything is now going to be done by Ambers and the ERPs which are coming in. So I think we or other anybody is not replaceable. Technology may help you, but it cannot replace you. That's my strong stand, I would say.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think having said that, I think there's one thing that we all need to probably reflect on is what are the kind of work, which we are doing currently, which could be done by AI, and what are the new skills we need to acquire to keep ourselves relevant. So for example, you took the example, Dr. Vijayshree, about typewriters, and then going to electronic typewriters, and then we went to computers. So if somebody continues to retain the skill of only typing and being a typist and taking what do you call, earlier we used to have this, we used to take notes in a short form and then type it into a letter. If that was the skill that one is working on, Siri will replace them as an example, or Alexa might replace them. But if they're acquiring new skills and upgrading themselves constantly, to the earlier points that you made, one would always remain relevant, and there'll be newer and different things that one could do, right? But we are not focusing right now on jobs and whether jobs are going away with AI. That's not the focus of our conversation. Our focus of conversation is, how are leaders viewing this opportunity, and how are they investing themselves in transforming the landscape of their businesses. So do they first understand AI, and if they do, how are they doing it? And from where you're sitting, what's your worldview in terms of how leaders are actually doing or leading this transformation while AI is happening around them? Yeah. So, Prithveesh.
Sure, Anand. I think I spoke a little bit about it when I answered the first time, but probably where I would like to contribute here is towards a beautiful, way of looking at it that you put across on how do organizations look at the whole learnability, and how do they ensure that leaders at that age group or at that experience level actually scale up. And some of which that I've been involved in the design and implementation of programs, that's something that I want to share. So I think this is my during my time with TCS, when TCS took a big target of training close to 200,000 people on AI skills, because that was the need, and a 3-year, 4-year roadmap to address client engagements. So a large part of this was also that experience range of over 15 years, 20 years experienced folks, who are either in pure delivery roles, or who are purely in managerial roles, and some of them being in pure P&L sort of a roles. So now, if you bring in the whole skills concept, and say that you will have to adapt to AI, uh, there are different ways of looking at it, right? A TCS kind of an organization said, we are providing you this opportunity and a platform so that you kind of upskill yourself on AI and digital skills. So the option that was given was voluntary, right? As in, this is an option, it is your career, you gotta take it ahead, right? And then there will be a point that will come in after 6 months, where companies will say, you know what, we now have to link this to learning, to growth, performance, and pay. right? It's a beautiful way, and HR says that this is how we will get things done, right? And then you will see naturally, because of this, leaders or employees in general, including us, falling in track that let's ensure that we are getting this done the right way, because it is getting linked to your growth and pay and performance, right? So a lot of larger organizations would have done this way, and as part of that, employees and leaders adapt to it and upskill and whatnot. But there are other beautiful organizations that build a high performance culture right from beginning. They don't have to look at communications to employees in whatsoever way. Right from the start, you see that culture wherein an employee knows that there is this company that has given this ecosystem, and if I want to grow, if I want to move ahead in my career, I will take that, right? So no HR, no leaders have to nudge, have to send out multiple follow-ups, nor the talent development team has to publish dashboards for people to look at adoptions. So I think there are companies that have done both ways, have been successful. Like my organization today has clearly focused on ensuring that we give clear career paths. And AI is helping us drive some of career pathing, career models, that some of which that Narayanan shared as use cases, and also the entire skills philosophy. And I think in the Indian pharma context, we're one of those first organizations that has adopted a complete skills first approach, wherein you kind of net scrape skills from different platforms, and then you arrive at which are your emerging skills, which are your maintaining skills, and which are your declining skills. So that is your baseline for leaders in this perspective to understand where do they need to focus on to stay relevant. Right. So today your DP or your drug product guys, or your drug, any sort of guys in the regulatory space, they know that whatever they have worked in the last 15, 20 years might be great processes, but there are other skills that global pharma organizations have adopted and have kind of moved on, and that we need to catch up on. So I think those are some perspectives that I thought I will share, where from a culture standpoint, we are doing something right, and at the same time, how we are adopting AI and generative AI technology and ensuring that we enable people to learn and grow.
That's a great perspective, Prithveesh, because what I heard you say is how do you create a pull kind of a factor versus a push kind of a factor. The first one, like, is I'm putting 200,000 people through it. I'm probably incentivizing them to learn and rewarding them, recognizing them. That's, a lot of push from the organization saying, guys, shape up quickly because we need you, right? Versus another scenario where people are absolutely enthusiastic about learning. They have all the material available, and they're pushing themselves to reinvent themselves every time. Right? I think, and it takes a lot to build a culture like that. Yeah. And very interesting perspective. Amit, we'll go to you, and then we'll go to Narayan.
Yeah. So I agree with Narayan as well, and some what the Prithvesh said, that I just want to add more into it. How leaders right now adopting the and unleashing the AI. If I talk about, most of the leaders are following because of fears. If they heard that story about Nokia, like if they are not following that technology, they'll be way behind, and they don't want to miss this bus. They don't want to miss this boat, but they are not trying to understand like how really AI will help them to scale their business. If I talk about in my organizations particularly, we understand the AI very well, how it will be helping. So we started from recruitment. As an HRBP, I first implemented in recruitment, that how, if I'm getting the resumes, how resume will passing to their ATS, how it will predictive analysis will help me to take proper decisions whether this guy is really fit for or not, from which organizations most of the candidates are applied to our organizations, what are their chances of retentions, are they staying in the organization. So we studied from last 5 years data, and we get to know that these are the top 10 competitors who are coming to us. Those are staying a very longer period in our organizations. Same way that the one product currently I'm working on with one of our AI researchers, we are building up the product which help us to sentiment analysis, which help me to understand like if someone going by surveys and all, that sentiment will predict the analytics, and they will guide us like this employee is not satisfied and they will leave. That sentiment analysis will help us to at least trigger point. Okay, these employees are not happy. So AI tool we are developing that way that they will assist us that these are the 30 people who are not satisfied right now. They switch sooner or later. So we will start triggering out and keep connecting with them to building up the repo and try to damage as much as we can. Let's say if out of 140 people are going and we get to know that, oh, these 40 people are going, by this tool we at least get to know that these 40 people are going. Let's build the network with them. Let's understand what's problem. At least we'll say 50% of it, and we'll survive in that project, because everybody in IT industry are somewhat aligned with the project work. If any key people are leaving the project, they'll be no more into that project with client, because clients say, no, I don't want replacement nowadays. So that's the crucial part, because of cost is also high. Same way, learning and management, we also implemented that personalized AI will assist us the personalized learning path. How they are wanted to building up, did they fill up any form, and AI will suggest them this is the learning path, you can learn this skill for your future prospect. Same way, our leadership are also concerned about that, how we can make the employee engaged. And for that engagement model, we are currently studying a lot of descriptive and predictive analysis, which help us to quantify that, how we can make them the real work environment. Because if they're not getting the real challenge work environment, they'll not stay with the same project. Nobody wanted to stay with the 5 years in the same project with monotonous job. Everyone wants a really challenging work. So that's how we are implementing it. Our leaders are really focusing on that. Go steady and smooth. Do not rush in that market that everybody implementing this tool, let's we have this tool. No, implement the first tool, then second tool, understand how it is reacting, how it is really value adding to the business. And from last 6 to 7 months, I would say that the performance which we implemented the entire AI system into our organization, we'll see that the increase in the performance, which is 178%. And that's really drastic, because when COVID was hit across, we started up the face recognition system. That was the starter of our AI. So face recognition system helped us, how AI will help us. And that problem solved us 90% of problem, because we had done a biometric and we resolved that problem that nobody wanted to touch, and we saved ourselves as well. Then we came across with the onboarding assistant. Right now, me and one of the researchers working on the virtual assistant, who will call before the candidate pre-onboarding. What are their takeaways from it? What they can expect on the first day? And it is a virtual call assistant, I would say. They call like a human, like an Amit. Hey, I'm Amit. I'm just called from Bacancy, kind of. So we are working on this model as well, and we are just nearby to finish this model to the launching soon into the industry as well. Like how this problem really need to be drill down. Leaders has to understand what is the problem and how we can resolve together. Actual intelligence we do have.
Sure.
We have to align our actual intelligence with the artificial intelligence, and that's the better way to leadership can scatter and deliver the industry.
Absolutely. I think thanks, Amit. I think there are two words that have been used often in this conversation. One is sentiment analysis. That's a term that has come forth, and the other one is unbiased, view, because there's a lot of data that is, and I think Narayan mentioned about when you're looking at a job description, it's not coming from one frame of reference, but it's coming from a highly large segment of data that is being pulled in, and then AI generating it. So fundamental questions are being asked about privacy, about ethics, when you're using AI, and also during, based on what it's called societal biases that may be also out at play. While we are saying that it is not my bias or your bias or the six of us bias, but there is a bias of maybe 100,000 people or a million people out there, which may be at play. Because AI, at the end of the day, with all due respect, is a dumb tool which is just looking at what data is available and then churning some output from that data. It is not creating any new data at this point. While there are models which are creating new information and data, which is derivative data, but still. So I'm just putting that frame also into the conversation for us to think about as we are talking about, efficiency tools, productivity, all that. How are we keeping in mind, the impact that will have from a ethics and a data privacy standpoint. So over to you, Narayan.
Sure. So Anand, let me try and share the perspective on two things that we talked about, right? One is from a leadership standpoint, what are we trying to do? I'm trying to hire, AI leadership talent right now. I'll give you a perspective of what's going on. And we talked about data, right? In terms of language models. One, from a leadership standpoint, when I'm looking for a talent in to be a leader of a AI practice, right? Um, I know I always use this quote. I'm sure all of us know Narayanan sir. He always said, this is like 30, 40 years ago, right? He always said in his company reviews, right? In God we trust, everybody else bring data to the table. So you run a company to say, buddy, bring data to the table. If somebody is grown like that, where you have used data to be able to drive your business decisions, you're able to drive your businesses using that, then that is the fundamental of somebody being at a leadership level who can run an AI practice, who can run, because like we all agree, it's AI is based entirely on data. If you had grown that way, that you have used data for your decision making and you've used data and looked at it and removed your bias, looked at data making, that is the right kind of person to be able to read a AI practice, because it all depends on data. That's what I look for. When I go for, I don't say the person has worked on 10 models or 20 models or what he's done across, but I looked at how has his growth in his life has been. If he spent 20 years in this industry or 15 years in the industry, what has been his decision making points? How has he made those decisions? What has he used to make those decisions? Is it gut feel? Is it anecdotal evidences? Is it database divisions across? How is he, if he's database, how is he ensure the data is not biased? And has he focused on those areas to be able to look at it? That's the right person to lead. Because right now, there is nobody ready-made who will come back and say, I've got 20 years of AI experience. Nobody's got that. Right? So you'll have to look at the kind of person. So that's how we look at leadership, and that's how I look at leadership looking across, right? Now, from a data perspective, you talked about ethics, privacy, and all that stuff, right? And so we do this as a service offering to our clients. When we, for example, when we went to that, to the pharma company, right, to do this, right? There are two types of data. Like you rightly said, there is one real data where data is collected from so many different sources, like your Googles and all that stuff of the world. Then there is something called synthetic data, data that is generated based on certain inputs that is given in. When you are deploying an AI model, you always have a combination of real data and synthetic data. The biases and the privacy and the security all comes in when you have too much synthetic data into your LLM models. The job that an AI person has to take care is to ensure that the synthetic data is as low as possible. It'll never be zero, because a model doesn't work if it doesn't have synthetic data. There's always these gaps. You have to use synthetic data to fill those gaps. But if you use synthetic data as part of your overall data models, then your LLM is problem. Then your outcomes, which is the AI that is using this data to give you, is biased. Privacy is a problem, and all that stuff is a problem, right? So the core of the issue, and we need a leaders to be able to understand that. So when I'm hiring them, we ask them concept. Do you understand the concept of synthetic data? Do you know how to generate synthetic data? Do you know how to remove bias in synthetic data? Do you know how to test hypothesis using synthetic data? Right? And you ask all these questions to figure out what the person has really done, whether he did across. And if he understands that, then the person truly understands, at being a leader, what is the difference between true data, what is the difference between synthetic data, where he has to deploy machine learning. You deploy machine learning only on true data, never on synthetic data. Then there's only your whatever, right? White cement to fill in gaps. It's never the whole thing, right? That is the kind of talent that you have to look for to be able to bring in talent. Otherwise, your AI solutions is going to lead you in a direction that you don't want to. The challenge is you will realize that after you have gone down that path quite too far.
Great points, Narayan. I think very crisp, very crisply articulated. I think one is data-driven decision making for leadership hiring decisions. As to when you're looking for leaders, you're looking at somebody who's used data to arrive at decisions. And the second point was interesting in terms of the combination of real data and synthetic data. I call synthetic data derived data. So synthetic data is an interesting new phrase. I know. I think the question is, how the AI models are being designed, because a lot of AI models are now internally being designed, which are custom to organizational context and the businesses. They're not necessarily Chat GPT is not the only model out there. It's just one of the zillion models that are coming up every day, around us. Rohit, we'd love to hear something more from the ground.
Sure. So there are two questions going on. First, on the data privacy or privacy as a whole using AI systems, and second is the question you asked in the beginning, which was why people in their mid-40s are not getting the jobs. I will tackle the first question first, like very quickly, which was and Pritish didn't mention it in while he was talking, was hands-on versus hands-off. Generally, once you go into the management position, you generally tend to go hands off. You are even director of engineering don't code anymore. Um, I think AI is changing that. It is pushing you to be more hands-on. Second is why people are not getting jobs is for good 20-25 years, you are actually doing one task and one task only, which is if you are doing support, you're only doing support. If you are a Unix admin, you are still a Unix admin. You did not evolve to become a DevOps or a cloud engineer. And that's why you are stuck. So it's all about it comes down to two things: intent and interest. Like every person at a certain level needs to understand, like AI it doesn't need you to become a data scientist. It doesn't need you to be a data scientist. There are no codes and low code solutions available. You can go that, start learning from there. So it's more about intent and interest. What are you trying to achieve by learning AI, and how to learn AI is as simple as that. That's the first answer to it. Narayan sir did mention about tweaked machine learning models, tweaked AIs, because the data is not accurate. If the data is biased, the model will be biased, the system will be biased. I don't know if any one of you have you heard of called responsible AI. It's an AI for AI. I only know it because my sister is working on it, and she's doing a postdoctorate on the same. What it does is audits an AI if the data is objective or not. Is there any subjectiveness in the model or not? So this is a solution that is coming up from different research labs across the globe, but this is just not famous. The second thing is using this responsible AI models, there are infosec softwares coming, which are AI enabled, which can solve, which is again trainable, but have standard templates embedded into it. If you just want to know if your system or software is ISO 27001 certified, you just run that software in your system, and it will tell you these are the vulnerabilities you need to go through, which is, and I've seen it working, and I've seen it running the entire audit in 30 seconds. So that's the efficiency metric that it comes, it brings, and that's it. think I don't know if I will be able to add anything more to it, but these are the two areas which we need to figure out very quickly, like upskilling by changing the thought process. We do tend to become more stringent over the course of time, or the more we grow, we become more stringent to our own thought processes. We need to change that, become more hands-on. Second, we need to know why we are even learning AI. And fourth is responsible way to solve for biases in AI. That's it.
Great. Thanks, Rohit. Dr. Vijayshree, can I request you to be in the center of the frame? I think we are losing you. We don't. We want to see you. Yeah. So I think great, Rohit.
Thank you
Great
so
points,
much.
Rohit. Yeah. I like the points of unidimensional skills. I think it's interesting that if there is only one skill that a person is focused on, and I don't blame, sometimes we get too much success doing the same job, and we think that we are doing the job the best, and probably we are doing the job the best, but we are only good for the job and good for nothing for everything else. So, so that makes us unemployable very quickly. So intent, interest is a very, very interesting phrase that you brought in, and also responsible AI. Thanks so much for that. Right. So I'm also calling out, like I mentioned, we have 16 minutes to go. Right. So we'll try to land this somewhere. So Abhay, will go to you, and then we will go to one more hand up. I think Vijayshree, your hand was up earlier. It's down now. So we'll go to Abhay. Yeah.
I'll start from, like, I have taken some points from what Amit, Patel, Prithveesh, and Rohit, Vatsyayan had to say from the leadership point of view. So what I feel is, like, when we conduct programs also, like Prithveesh had brought out the example of TCS, how they had given a chance to be a volunteer to do the skills, and after 6 months they had to be a little stricter. So what we propagate in our learning programs is that learning is the responsibility of the employee or the candidate. That is the foremost. What as a leader you can do is provide them platform and the environment and empower them to do so, and you have to bring it together. So also, how the point of one more point I would like to bring into it, make a culture of learning. One of the questions I think it had what you had sent. So I'll just give you my quick example. In my previous role, I was commanding a unit which had tanks, and unfortunately, I had no prior experience. So I used to take out time from my schedule and go down to the training area and learn how to operate a tank, because I was not supposed to operate a tank. But unless and until, as a the head of the unit, if I do not know, how will I guide my the team? So I did the whole, and I gave the technician who was there full power to empower him to even tick me off, and it was unheard for them. And for 1 week I had completed the whole training, and then I came off, and I had a fabulous response from the unit when they performed exceedingly well in the organization. So it gave out a signal. Basically, signaling from the leadership is very important, that what you yourself are doing and what do you expect from your team members. So that is the. And one more point I will lastly want to what Amit had brought up in his organization, how they are deploying AI. They started from face recognition, then small modules of ATS. So like it's part of design thinking. They are piloting it. If you pilot something, it has success, and you show the success to your team members, then is the time when you will get the buy-in. You have the most important, otherwise there will be always some resistance, and then the whole effort will go in like nullifying the resistance. So you have to get buy-ins, and the way the team of Amit and Narayanan is doing, like piloting, showing the success and getting the buy-in, then moving ahead, I think that is the way to go, not for for AI, but any new technology which is getting in. Thank you so much.
Great. Thanks so much, Abhay. Vijayshree?
Yeah, so Amit, Narayan, Rohit, Abhay, they have been my prompt engineers because whatever I wanted to speak, they've already spoken about it. But nonetheless, I was talking about, obviously, I've been talking about strongly on the subjective part of it, but objectively thinking, which the implementation has been done currently. Because when I talk about my CTO, CFOs, they are hiring. So like for example, I'm just giving a live type of a kind of example, because my CTO and CFO, they both were sitting and they were hiring somebody called Azure data engineer, and one was hiring for a D365 FNO technical architect kind of roles. But then they were not able to speak the language, as Abhay mentioned, that they were not able to speak the language what this person in front was speaking. So for them, it was Latin and Spanish. So the best for BCP is the business continuity plan is having a top to bottom kind of an approach, that we have to equip and our leadership in such a manner, and make them understand. It is like yes, the technology is there, and in case if we want to continue, see, because we've always understood that the experience plays a very vital role. So instead of we pushing them to learn, they would already understand that if it is a business continuity which is expected and their role not to be redundant and obsolete, we will have to align them, or they will have to align to the technology which is coming on into the picture. So that was one point. And also, Prithveesh did mention something about the face recognition system and all that. So again, the subjective part of it, people have cracks for everything. So, we have to be very particular about the data privacy. So while we are adapting and adopting to all these things, data privacy would surely play a very vital role, and the companies should be willingly investing it in, not taking it as a liability, but it is an asset in a long term, is what I would like to put forth. And over to you, Anand. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dr. Vijayshree. Rohit, you have your hand up. Do you have a point to make before we go to the concluding part?
Sorry, I think it was up all the time. Sorry about
So
that.
we'll punish you by putting you on the spot for the next one. So you have to go
All
first.
right. All
Yeah.
right.
So I think we've spoken a lot about what people need to do, what others have to do. So there's a lot of third person conversation. So let's switch the whole framework for the next 10 minutes. But we'll have to keep our answers brief. What is it that all of you are senior leaders in the industry? You're leading teams and you're leading organizations and people. So what are you doing personally? uh, you know, Looking at all this change that is happening around you, besides obviously joining a peer learning forum like this, which is an investment you're making, uh, what are you doing to keep yourself abreast with, the new technology that is coming around and it's disrupting people around? So Rohit, will start with you.
Sure, absolutely. I will keep it very, very brief. I know my answer for this one. So here's the thing. AI, we have been listening about AI all across us, like from the moment we wake up till the time we sleep, from like one way or another. I keep it very simple. Like you, so sometimes we also, as a recruiter, we also talk within ourselves. Like sometimes our stakeholders need a Shaktiman, which is actually not possible. So in my life, I keep it very simple. I will learn what I actually need to learn. And out of interest, I can do anything of what I want. But the first thing first is uh, earlier it used to be processes, like create a process, follow a process. Now what we started doing, or I started doing, is converting those processes into workflows. Now workflows are very intuitive. You need to create a proper structure in place. Now each of those steps will have sub steps. Each of those sub steps will also have sub steps, so it becomes a I would say tree problem. And now each of those steps, once you are able to create the entire workflow, including all the sub steps. Um, what I look at is, personally, what I do is I try to automate as much as possible. And from last 6 months, I'm the only recruiter, and I'm the only one in the team, and my recruiters are AIs. So AI and automation. So I use a lot of Slack automation. I use a lot of OpenAI open automation. I use a lot of we have Copilot here. So we use Azure, Microsoft Suite. So we have Copilot. So we keep on automating as much as we could. I take a lot of engineering help. I do automate and write small scripts by myself, and then try to automate as much as possible. Excel automation is a very simple example of it. Creating workflow is the key. Automating is something that you can do as much as you could. I will not get into details of it, which was I'm already 2 minutes in, so I will pause.
Great. Thanks, Rohit. So automation is your solution, and you have AI recruiters for you, automated recruiters.
Yeah, a lot of tools. Yes, I use like
Great,
5, 6 different tools.
great. Amit, what are you doing?
See, Anand, good questions because I keep learning. I'm a student. I'm not saying that I'm a perfect person, but I'm a student. So what I do, I keep investing myself every weekend 2 hours for a learning purpose. Like what is the best practices in AI which is happening, how they are really disrupting, how really this is really impacting the human being as a human being. Because ultimately we are not machine, so we need to be understand the emotions. Like if suppose something happen in retail industry, are these effect would be into the market and which is impacting the IT industry or not. So I keep learning through attending various webinars, seminars. I personally went to the Gartner's event as well. So I keep investing time there. I can learn and meet a lot of people who are really curious
Right.
about what is AI is doing. And the same questions I asking, they are also asking like how it is possible. And
Good.
we also said like how it is possible. But let's see, it is possible, then we will see it as it matured it. So it is about
Thanks.
to
Thanks.
patiently to watch and learn. That's it.
Lovely, lovely, Amit. Thanks. So Narayan, how are you learning?
See, my principle and approach to learning is very simple, right? The first thing is listen. I just listen a lot when new topic comes in, right? Listen with an open mind. Just try to listen from a lot of different people. There's a lot of different views and assimilate. That's the first thing that I do. Just listen and learn. It doesn't have to be a time driven. Just listen out. Second is I've been fortunate enough to work in organizations where they allow you to fail and fail faster. You try something, you fail, it's okay, right? And you fail faster. And that's what I tell with my team as well. It's okay for you to try something new. You've listened something, you've assimilated, you want to try, you fail, no problem. You fail faster. You've learned something from your failure. Now do it better than faster the next time. And if I try and apply this model to everything that I do, which is also AI today, right? When we look at it today. So listen, assimilate, try, fail faster, do it better the next time. That's how you stay
Awesome.
relevant.
Awesome. Great. That's a very crisp sharing. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. So we got to better that in order to be on time. So we'll go to Prithveesh.
Yeah, thank you. I think I follow something similar to what Narayan said. I listen to a lot of thought leaders, even people on the ground who are trying to look at new ideas. I also look at HR thought leaders, tech thought leaders. I kind of understand how they are thinking, why are they thinking like this, etc. So that's one. Second is my skills in, at least in TA, is no more do you know sourcing, do you know selection. It's no more that. It's all about learning talent analytics and, for example, predictive modeling, right? So my assessments for my own career growth has changed dramatically. So I'm trying to get to that, do my own assessments for my own career growth. So that's how I'm doing. The third thing is I think I try and spend some time with my tech leadership on what are some of the things that they are thinking and some of the roadmaps that they have in place. So these are three things that I look at.
Awesome. Thanks, Prithveesh. Dr. Vijayshree, how are you learning?
So basically, I represent the visual effects organizations or the industry which is there currently. So what you see is you believe it. So when it comes to self-learning, is like I make my team and me, I do the same as well. That we prepare whatever things we can the manual way, the old school type kind of a thing. And currently, because it's a lean, we have that leverage of spending time on that. And then we have the chat GPTs and bringing in the AI. So the time difference is what I calculate, and then that's how I'm promoting the learning for AI, not only to me, but my team also. And as I was saying earlier, that I represent the visual effect company. So whatever we see, and that's how I learn. And I'm a computer science graduate, so obviously left coding and everything long time back. But then fortunately I'm coming back to the machine learning and pythons. So obviously with the power BI thing, which I am which is my task for this year, so obviously to learn that I'm going back to python and learning. So that's about me.
That's great. That's great, Vijayshree. So welcome to the army, man.
Okay.
Abhay.
Yeah. So for myself, my presently my focus is on HR analytics. So I am also, as Prithvi said, predictive modeling. I am trying be hands-on on that. So it basically it is to see how we can improve the performance of our programs, what we are running. So that is one. And recently I got a Gartner subscription. So I think it's a great source of info for tech, and it's really helping me. And I'm sure, like Amit, I'm motivated by this 2 hours rule which he has. So I can, so that's also one more thing which I want to add. I recently attended ETHR Future Summit in Mumbai. It was on 23rd May. And if somebody is interested, like Mercer is doing great things. And they had shown us a case study of our HRBP, how they, what was his previous man hours invested, and after using AI, how they have modeled his role. So basically they are going job description free. So if Amit is interested, he can just search around for Marshall what they are doing. So that is, and please go through a site called marshallgoldsmith.ai. And I was fortunate to meet Marshall Goldsmith at the event because he was one of the keynote speakers. And that site is amazing. That you throw a problem at that AI, and what it will do, it will give an answer from his perspective. That it will use his coaching technique and the data which is available in the external world and get it together, and you will get fantastic answers for whatever you are. It's not a coaching thing, but then I mean at that level. And I think Fructal is the organization which has done it for them. And some, you can just try it out. It's amazing. Get Marshall Goldsmith advice at free. Six. Otherwise, you have to pay around how many, I don't know, millions to get him on board.
Amazing. I think thanks. Actually, I heard about Marshall Goldsmith from someone else also in terms of his tool. I've also had the opportunity to meet him, like you did. A wonderful person and someone who is always wanting to give back to people in society without looking at money as a driver. So great. I think it's fantastic, and I'm also quite inspired to hear all of you in terms of how you're learning. I think I'll also want to share quickly that my I'm a somebody who learns, who's very intrigued by theory and goes deeper into subjects, and then I have to implement it immediately because I'm very pragmatic in my style. So I have to go back and implement a lot of stuff. So I use a plethora of AI tools. Every day I'm subscribing to paid tools and I'm unsubscribing them after. I'm creating my own videos, I'm editing my own videos, I'm doing design work. All of these skills I don't have as a career HR professional. That's not something I have. I'm also a professional coach. So some people told me that marshallgoldsmith.ai will take my job. So I said, good for me. So I'll do something else. So I'm not worried. So there's always an opportunity to do something else if somebody takes your job, right? So fantastic.